You know that feeling, right? When you're on a website and you just feel like you're being played, like you can't find the unsubscribe button or you've suddenly signed up for something you never ever wanted. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not in your head. There's a whole playbook out there that designers are using to mess with your choices. And today, we're going to tear it wide open.
I mean, come on. We've all been there. You're trying to do something simple, like cancel a subscription, and suddenly you're clicking through 7 different pages, each one trying to convince you to stay. It feels like the website is actively fighting you, making the easy stuff hard and the sneaky stuff way too easy.
So if you've ever felt that frustration, here's the validation you've been searching for. You are 100% not imagining it. This isn't some accident or a bug in the code. No, it's a feature. It is a deliberate, calculated strategy, and it has a name. They're called dark patterns. The name really says it all, doesn't it? These are design choices specifically created to trick you into doing things you wouldn't normally do. Things like, oh, I don't know, sharing way more of your personal data than you wanted to, or getting locked into a subscription you never meant to buy. They are the hidden traps of the internet. So what do these things actually look like out in the wild? Well, it's not just one trick. Think of it more like a whole collection of tactics, a kind of deceiver's toolkit. So let's pull back the curtain and take a look at some of the most common tools in this shady playbook. First up, we've got a classic with a grim, but let's be honest, a perfectly memorable name, the Roach Motel. And yeah, it is exactly what you're thinking of. It's named after that bug trap for a very good reason. The whole idea is simple, and it is brutally effective. The design works just like the trap. You can check in, but you can't check out. Think about it. Signing up for that free trial, oh, that's a breeze. 1 click, maybe 2, and you're in. But trying to cancel that same trial, whoa, suddenly you're lost in a maze of confusing menus, contact forms, and a dozen "are you sure" emails. That difference in difficulty? Totally on purpose. And check this out. This is a pretty extreme version of the Roach Motel. It's from a fan site, and look at their policy just right out there in the open. We do not delete or terminate accounts. Your only choice is to go in, manually erase your own info, and just walk away. Your account is basically immortal, trapped in their system forever. It's the ultimate Roach Motel. Once you're in, you are never leaving. So the big question is, why do we keep falling for this stuff? Are we just not paying enough attention? Well, not really. The truth is, these patterns work so well because they're built to exploit the way our brains are already wired to think. They hack our mental shortcuts. See, every day, we all rely on these little mental shortcuts. Psychologists call them cognitive biases, just to function. I mean, our brains have to make thousands of tiny decisions, so they create these little rules of thumb to save energy. They're super useful most of the time. But they also create blind spots, predictable ways our thinking gets warped. And those blind spots are exactly what dark patterns are designed to hit. Let's look at 2 of the heavy hitters. First, there's the anchoring bias. This is where the very first thing you see, like a price, sets an anchor in your mind that influences everything that comes after. Then you've got the status quo bias. This is just our brain's natural laziness. We tend to stick with whatever the default option is because, making a change takes effort. And that status quo bias, that's the engine that makes the Roach Motel run. It's just easier to stay subscribed than to fight your way out. And here is a perfect picture of anchoring bias in action. Look, the first price you see is $5,000. That's the anchor. So when you manage to get the price down to $4,500, you feel like a genius. You got a great deal. But what if the thing was only ever worth $3,000 to begin with? That anchor totally changed how you see its value. Online stores pull this trick all the time. Okay, this might be one of my all-time favorite examples. Years ago, for April Fool's Day, a UK game store slipped this little immortal soul clause into their terms and conditions. Why? To prove that absolutely nobody reads the fine print. And it's a brilliant play on our status quo bias. It is so much easier to just click "I agree" and get on with our day than to stop and read pages of dense legal text. We just want to get it over with. All right, so everything we've talked about up until now has been stuff you can at least see on the screen. But what about the tricks you can't see? Some of the most potent dark patterns are completely invisible, humming away in the background, tracking your every move. And this is where things get a little creepy. It's a technique called device fingerprinting, and it's pretty much what it sounds like. Websites and services quietly collect a ton of really specific technical details about your device, your computer, your phone, whatever. Then they stitch all those little pieces of data together to create a digital fingerprint that is uniquely yours. It's like a special ID to follow you all over the web. So you're probably thinking, how's this any different from cookies? Oh, it's different. It's like an enormous upgrade in tracking tech. You can delete your cookies. You can go into private browsing mode. But your device's fingerprint, you can't just wipe that away. It sticks around even if you clear your history or go incognito, because it's not a file stored on your device. It's based on the very nature of the device itself. It's a shadow you can't shake. And what kind of data are they grabbing to build this thing? It's a lot. We're talking everything from your screen resolution and your graphics card to the specific fonts you have installed on your computer. On their own, none of these things mean much. But start putting them together. I mean, how many other people have your exact screen resolution, plus your exact browser version, plus your specific set of fonts, and are in your time zone? The odds get very, very small very fast. It's basically a digital DNA test for your laptop. Okay, so we get it. These patterns exist. They're sneaky, manipulative, sometimes invisible. But so what? What's the real impact here? Why is it so important to know this playbook? Because this isn't just some interesting factoid. This affects every single one of us, every single day we're online. A few years back, the U.S. Federal Trade Commission did a big study. They looked at a whole bunch of online services and tried to figure out what percentage of them used at least one dark pattern. The number they came back with? 100%. Every single one. This isn't some fringe problem. This is the industry standard. And that's why this goes way beyond just being annoying. A Roach Motel can slowly drain your bank account with a subscription you forgot about. Other patterns can trick you into giving away personal data you'd never dream of sharing. When you get right down to it, every single dark pattern is an attack on your freedom to make your own informed choices online. Now, the good news is, regulators are finally starting to wake up and fight back. You had the big GDPR data rules come out of Europe in 2016. Then in 2021, a company in Australia got slapped with a huge fine for, you guessed it, a classic Roach Motel unsubscribe process. And the fight's still going, with new laws being proposed all the time to make this stuff illegal. But let's be real. Laws are slow. Technology is fast. So what can we do right now, today? Honestly, the single most powerful weapon we have is just awareness. It's knowing the playbook. Once you can put a name to what you're seeing, once you can say, that's a Roach Motel, or hey, they're trying to use anchoring bias on me, you take the power back. You can see the trick for what it is. And that's really the big takeaway here. These patterns are most powerful when we're just on autopilot, mindlessly clicking through things. But now you know what to look for. You've got the vocabulary. So the next time you're online and that little pre-checked box seems a little too helpful, or that unsubscribe button seems impossible to find, you'll see the pattern. And knowing is half the battle.